Today, we're going to talk about the 80-20 rule. Okay, so take a deep breath. You probably heard about it. It's called the Pareto Principle. I'm not an expert at teaching people the Pareto Principle, but I use it, and I'm going to use it for the rest of this course. Why? Because I only have another 15 days to share everything that I want to share with you guys. Okay, when you have a limited amount of time, okay, you tend to focus on the vital few. Okay, there's a law saying that the amount of time that you give something, it's going to fill that time. So if you have 8 hours to do something, it's going to take all 8 hours. If you give yourself a half hour, you're going to take a half hour. That's where what I recommend in terms of writing these books that you're going to write, or these videos that you're doing, you do it between patients. Okay, so you can still have a life. So you don't have to spend all your time just doing this stuff. You should give yourself a short block of time and just kind of do it. Use this time that you would normally waste. Okay, this time you would normally be checking email or doing other types of things. Use that time to actually produce content. That would be my recommendation. So the idea of the Pareto Principle, and I'll put this article underneath it, it says that 80% of the effort produces 20% of the results, and 80% of the results come from 20% of the effort. And this is the part that I want to focus on, is that there are things, and not everything is equal. Okay, even on the stuff that I'm talking to you about up to this point, okay, not everything is equal. There are certain things that are kind of like when you look at levers or levers, one little lever can move a lot of things. Okay, so that's what I want to focus on with you. There are like these levers that you can move, big things. So in the last 14 days, I've talked about a lot of things. I've talked about like the shock and awe packages. I talked about building an email list. I've talked about all these things. But like, you get overwhelmed with this stuff. Like, how are you going to do that? You have a practice. You're seeing patients. You have to do everything else. You're worried about paying staff and things like that. So if you're going to focus on one thing, okay, the one thing I would say would be building your list. Okay, that's the first thing I would do, because if you don't have a list, you don't have anything. You don't have anything to send. If you make content, but no one's looking at it, who cares if you have content? Okay, so the first thing would be every patient that comes in, you get their email and you start building your list. If you don't want to go back and get the previous, just start today. So if you see 10 patients today, you got 10 on your list. And then what you do is you start producing content and you send it out to your list. Now, in the beginning, your content is going to suck. It's going to be bad. But over time, it's going to get better as you start getting better, learning how to use technology and having other people do stuff for you. Okay, so that would be the first thing. If we're talking 80-20, the best thing is to build your list.